Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about thinking like a beginner. And I think that it's important that we think of ourselves as beginners in so many areas that we're starting or we need to start new things and we're afraid because it's new, right? And as you know, as the world changes and technology becomes more and more important, as AI does what AI is doing, it is so important that we allow ourselves to become beginners, to make mistakes, to fail, to start over, to learn and grow, and be okay with being a beginner, being okay with asking questions, being okay with constant change. It's just a part of life, right? And I think we don't start new things because we're afraid of how we're going to look. We don't want to look silly. We don't want to look like a beginner. We don't want to look like we're starting at zero. But the reality is, as AI changes so quickly, we all have to start at zero, every single one of us. And it doesn't matter what it is, we all start at zero. It's always been new to somebody, right? You know, we're at some point we all were at zero. And so we have to learn, we have to grow, we have to get better, we have to keep trying, we have to make mistakes, we have to fail, we have to ask questions. And I think the older we get, the more we are afraid of new things, the more we're set in our ways, doing things the same way. You know, I see people retiring to keep from having to do something new. And the reality is, it keeps the brain young, it keeps us on our toes, it keeps us where we're having to stretch ourselves. And as we get older, it's so important that we're able to continue to do that instead of getting stuck in just doing things the same way. And we new things are good, right? There are good things about the new things. There are, you know, of course, everything has ups and downs. Everything has its drawbacks. So AI is no different, right? But the reality is, if we don't learn new things, we will get passed by. We will get, you know, and then two, even if you retire because of AI, if that's what you choose to do, the world is still changing. Things are still computer automated. It's still, you're still having to deal with AI in other areas. So AI is a good area for all of us to think of ourselves, to start, right? To be okay with being a beginner, to be okay with asking questions, to be okay with not knowing, to be okay with looking at studying something for hours and hours, trying to figure it out, to tinker with it, to, you know, learn it and get better. And it's going to continue to change. Life is going to continue to bring about new changes. And it's important that we're able to stick with something and learn it and be okay with change. It might be better than, you might find out that it's better than what you're currently doing. And I have learned this myself kind of over and over again. And I like the same thing. I like familiar, but the reality is, in my 50 years of living, I see it all the time. Things are constantly changing. Nothing ever stays the same. And if we keep doing it the same way, we miss out on a lot of opportunities. We find ourselves, you know, out of business, out of jobs, out of money, out of, you know, our creativity, because we're not willing to do something different. So think of yourself as a beginner. Be okay with being a beginner. Be okay with constantly learning and growing. Embrace change. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to do something different. I know it's hard to learn something different. I know it's hard to do things a different way. But it just might be the best thing for all of us. So think of yourself as a beginner and be okay with starting something new.